A while back, Orlando Brown made quite the accusation against rayj. He had said that rayj had invited him over to his house when he was just 13 years old and procured for him some drugs, some paraphernalia. So we're going to hear it directly from his voice, and then we're going to go into this topic of Mr. rayj and the sordid history he has with seemingly being a mule, a drug mule. Take it away, Mr. Orlando Brown.
Also, what Ray J doesn't understand is he was wrong for letting me come over his house when I was 13 and smoke weed against my mother's permission. Come on, Ray J. You are the dope man. You sold Whitney the death bag. You come on, man. You the dope man. You was the dope man for Diddy and Cassie. You the dope man. You know, you the dope man. and then you got the audacity to sit there on your on your whatever that is. I guess I should seen a preview of it. Talking about some, I'm the kingpin. Oh, are you the kingpin? Let me know. Just go ahead and further incriminate yourself. Why would you say you're gonna go to the courthouse butt naked, Ray J? Ray J, why would you say you want to go to the courthouse butt naked, Ray J? Ray J, you saying stuff like that so it can be inadmissible in court. You understand? Your dog is cute.
You look like you used to play on That's So Racist.
But you know, you got to be very, very careful with, you know, how you play, Ray J. You're just saying that kind of stuff so you can be found inadmissible in court. Okay? That's all you want to be inadmissible in court. You want to be deemed uncredible as a witness. So you're saying things like, "Oh, I'm gonna go show up butt naked, and I was the kingpin." But if you're saying somebody told you right, because I'm a nigga with money, so somebody advised you right. They told you to do the Orlando Brown.
At least he knows he's a character. We've been saying that for a minute, but at least he's admitting that. Now, but let's go back to the topic at hand. Right now, the topic at hand is Ray J exactly what people have been saying he is? Okay. It is not the first time that Mr. Ray J has been implicated in some issues when it comes to drugs. Let's put it like that. He has been implicated in multiple things, even at by the own statements of people like Suge Knight, that seem to tie him to another individual that passed away, and that would be Miss Whitney Houston. Now, in a over the phone interview, he had this to say about that.
Whitney Houston, it's on your hands. I remember the conversation when she thought her life was in the toilet. She didn't even say your name. She just used the term that Brandy's little brother bringing me drugs and doing drugs with me. Brandy's little brother trying to kiss me and do drugs with me. Next thing you know, she's dead. You brag about all these phone calls recorded. You brag about how Snoop tell you and told you he's a part of the people who put bread to kill Pac. That's why I say don't mention Tupac's name in none of your interviews, because you fuck with the motherfucker Snoop who said he had something to do with it.
Now, if that be true, that Ray J did indeed give Whitney some sort of a concoction that resulted in the end of her life, then what Orlando might be saying could be 100% credible. Now, while unverified at this moment, because there have been no court records put forward about it, what could be being said is that he is doing certain things, to let Orlando's credit, that could make him not looked at as a credible idea to even breach a lawsuit against. Now, even when you got mentioned with the whole Cassie and Puff Daddy and bringing drugs to them, All that wasn't even mentioned in the Diddy case whatsoever. His name never popped up in terms of someone who was a mule. In fact, there was somebody else that popped up as a drug mule. But if this person, particularly Ray J, is one of the people that did anything to do with the contribution to the stuff that was involved in the case with Diddy, why was he not mentioned? Could he have not been mentioned because he didn't have a hand? Or is he protected because he is built to have this position in Hollywood? Is he the one of those people that has been branded, given this role in order to either bring about the demise of people, to assist in the demise of people, or is he just being paid specifically to be just this, a drug runner? Not implicated in anything, will never get in trouble for anything. He's just there. For the amount of people that he's had in his wheelhouse that have been told that, yes, Ray J has been at the helm. He, like, again, like Should said, it is not the first time. And Ray J himself has said he has been involved in it. Is he saying it because it's true, or is he saying it to try and take the focus off of him? A lot of this has to do with recent history when it comes to the Diddy case, and some of it has to do with prior history when it comes to the Tupac situation. Ray J has a credibility issue when it comes to timelines as well, because when you look at something he said about having Tupac there on his 21st birthday, but Tupac was already expired by that point, at least by about 10, almost 10 years. It was quite incredible to see that being said. But what was his role in many of these people's situation? Is he a drug mule? That is the best question on the internet right now, because he keeps saying it, but nobody's taking him seriously. And he tries to find a way to wiggle out of it, even though they have a trail of people that we could easily link him to, whether either by people saying it or by his own admission. Let's take Orlando's claim of 13 years old. If Orlando were serious about that being the case, could he take RJ to court for doing that? Possibly. I don't know how the terms of statutes of limitations or how long ago that would have been, what kind of proof he'd have to bring. But if he can establish a record of Ray J being this kind of person in the public saying it, and then bring that, he might have a case. If we can find a way to link him in the time frames of Whitney, which there are some overlapping. There's some statements that said he was there just before. There's someone that said he had met with her a couple of days before. There are all kinds of situations where you can maybe extrapolate that he was involved in it. To Suge's statement that he was there the day that, or the day before, or a few days before her passing, and that you did give her and that drugs, and that she had told people that you were involved in bringing drugs to her. Could that be an implication? Don't know that either. Should we just take everybody else's idea that he was involved from YouTube channels and TikToks and Reddits and all? Are those tangibles enough to say he was a kingpin? No. But if someone keeps saying something and then tries to act crazy, to Orlando's credit again, then you might want to start taking them seriously. You might want to start thinking, well, is he trying to say something while staying away from the eye of the law so that he can brag about it? Because like we said, that might be his position that he's paid for. He might be one of those people that are given the authority to do certain things to certain individuals at certain times with a certain type of access point. Because he's been always hovering around the overdosing, the drug use, the drug culture. His name keeps popping up there. The question is why. Now, again, there are no confirmed lawsuits around Ray J at this moment, not for any capacity, not in trafficking, not in overdosing, and not in coercion, not in minors, not in any of those things. How, then, is that possible? How, if he doesn't have massive amounts of people handling his business to make sure he doesn't get included, is he able to be around all these stories, be involved in all the stories by his own admission and by people's admission, and never be implicated in a court case? He might be the most protected man in entertainment, but how and why? How did somebody like Ray J get that position? We may never know that answer. We may never have a resolve to this. But if he was involved in Whitney Houston's death, then I would say that we want to know that. Because for a long time, everyone thought that she just OD'd because of her own misuse of drugs, and that she did this to herself because she was going through some depression. But if somebody brought her to this point by introducing her to certain very addictive drugs and was supplying her and kept her in a certain mindset to be like this, and then finally gave her something that even in her mind would not have ended her life, and it did, that would be constituted as homicide, wouldn't it? It'd be more than just drug sharing. It'd be more than just coercion. This would be a homicide. And if we can implicate that, then how many other people would that have happened to? There are even rumors that a former member of TLC was involved in something like that too. Who knows? He had his hands, and he has been around enough people that have had issues that he seems to be the common denominator in all of them. And if he is a common denominator in all of them and never brought to justice, he must also have a common denominator in the protections that he has. Did you hear Snoop Dogg's name involved in this? Suge Knight's name involved. Most people have either been to jail or been at least charged with something. This brother's been avoiding it like the plague. That's some pretty good protection to me. Yeah, well, we'll see if it becomes anything. Maybe before too long, all his talking might end up backfiring on him. He may say one thing too many and slip up. He might end up being out there trying to act as though he's crazy and even take up the title. Yes, I am the dope man. And what if he does all that and then slips up one time and says something that he cannot pull back on and can't say I'm crazy about? Will that be the end of it? And will it lead down a rabbit trail to show some things that we thought other people might have been responsible for, that he's actually the mastermind behind it? It's quite an interesting story, to say the least, because there are some pretty big, one of the biggest names attached to it is not Orlando Brown, is Whitney Houston. And she has quite the following, quite a fan following. And if they find out that this particular person was at the base, the source of her demise, rayj better start looking out for all types of people coming for him lawsuit-wise to get to the bottom of what happened to their superstar. And if Orlando feels froggy, he might end up kicking it off by going into some sort of a lawsuit to get discovery done and put an end to this supposed menace of rayj.